Negative contemplations can frequently appear to be overpowering, catching us in a pattern of tension, dread, and self-question. These contemplations have the ability to cloud our judgment, block our advancement, and decrease our general prosperity. However, it is essential to recognize that negative thoughts do not last forever. They are essentially thought processes that can be overwhelmed with training and care. Welcome to an excursion of self-disclosure and internal development. Click the like button and subscribe to receive more transformative content in the future if you are ready to overcome negative thoughts and cultivate inner peace. The force of care. In Buddhism, care assumes a focal part in conquering negative considerations. The practice of being completely present in the moment without judging or being attached to one's thoughts or feelings is known as mindfulness. We can observe our negative thoughts as they arise without allowing them to control us by practicing mindfulness. This mindfulness enables us to answer negative considerations with empathy and understanding, instead of acting impulsively. Recognizing patterns in negative thoughts. Recognizing patterns in negative thoughts is one of the first steps in overcoming negative thoughts. Beliefs that are deeply ingrained, experiences from the past, or external factors frequently cause these patterns. By becoming mindful of these examples, we can begin to challenge their legitimacy and make space for more certain and productive reasoning. Developing self-sympathy is one more fundamental part of defeating negative considerations. Rather than censoring ourselves for having negative considerations, we can rehearse self-empathy by recognizing our battles with graciousness and understanding. This sympathetic demeanor assists us with breaking liberated from the pattern of self-analysis and permits us to move toward our viewpoints and feelings with more noteworthy tenderness and acknowledgement. Testing negative convictions. Negative contemplations are in many cases filled by basic, negative convictions about ourselves, others, or our general surroundings. In Buddhism, the act of request includes scrutinizing these convictions to uncover their real essence. By testing the legitimacy of our negative convictions, we can make space for more certain and enabling viewpoints to arise. Developing gratitude. Gratitude is a potent deterrent to negative thought. By zeroing in on the things we are thankful for, we can move our consideration away from pessimism and develop a feeling of overflow and satisfaction. In Buddhism, the act of appreciation is much of the time developed through care contemplation, where we think about the numerous endowments in our lives, regardless of how little they might appear. Finding reason and importance, negative contemplations frequently emerge when we feel separated from our feeling of direction and significance throughout everyday life. By adjusting our activities to our qualities and objectives, we can develop a more profound feeling of direction that rises above the transient idea of pessimistic reasoning. In Buddhism, this feeling of direction is in many cases tracked down through the act of Dharma, or the way of enlivening to our real essence, developing positive connections. Our associations with others can altogether affect our psychological and profound prosperity. By encircling ourselves with positive and steady individuals, we can establish a climate that supports positive reasoning and versatility. In Buddhism, the idea of Sangha alludes to a local area of professionals who support each other on the way to arousing. Rehearsing absolution. Clutching feelings of spite and feelings of disdain just propagates pessimistic reasoning and keep us caught before. By rehearsing pardoning, we can deliver the grasp of pessimism and hold nothing back from recuperating and change. In Buddhism, pardoning is viewed as a significant demonstration of self-freedom that permits us to push ahead with more noteworthy clearness and empathy. Embracing fleetingness. The idea of impermanence, or the realization that everything is fleeting and subject to change, is one of the fundamental Buddhist teachings. We can loosen the grip of negative thoughts and cultivate a greater sense of equanimity and acceptance by accepting impermanence. We are reminded to appreciate the present moment and let go of attachments to the past and future by this realization that nothing lasts forever. Loving and being kind. Kindness is a potent remedy for negative feelings and thoughts. We have the power to transform our inner landscape and cultivate a greater sense of inner peace and harmony if we cultivate feelings of love, compassion, and goodwill toward both ourselves and other people. In Buddhism, the act of adoring benevolence contemplation includes broadening wishes of satisfaction and prosperity to all creatures, regardless, finding euphoria right now. Bad contemplations frequently emerge when we choose not to move on or stress over what's to come. By establishing ourselves right now, we can break liberated from the pattern of rumination and develop a more noteworthy feeling of happiness and satisfaction. In Buddhism, the act of care is an integral asset for developing presence and mindfulness in every second, permitting us to encounter life all the more completely and profoundly. A common cause of suffering and negative thinking is letting go of atta. While we grip to assumptions, wants, and results, we put ourselves in a position for disillusionment and dissatisfaction. By relinquishing connection and developing a feeling of non-connection, we can liberate ourselves from the hold of pessimism and open ourselves to the progression of life as it unfurls. In Buddhism, practice of non-connection is key to the way of freedom from misery. Looking for help while required, beating negative contemplations is generally difficult, and it's all right to look for help when required. Whether through treatment, advising, or profound direction, connecting for help can give important experiences and assets to exploring testing considerations and feelings. In Buddhism, the Sangha, or profound local area, offers a steady organization of individual experts who can offer direction, support, and friendship on the way to arousing, remaining focused on the way. Beating negative contemplations requires commitment and persistence. It's fundamental to stay focused on the way of self-disclosure and internal change in any event when confronted with misfortunes and deterrents. By developing an ordinary act of care, self-sympathy, and cherishing consideration, we can steadily debilitate the grasp of negative reasoning and develop a more prominent feeling of harmony, joy, and prosperity in our lives. In Buddhism, this obligation to the way is known as right exertion, the continuous work to develop healthy characteristics and let go of unwholesome ones, prompting freedom from anguish. Accepting the journey in the end, overcoming negative thoughts, is a journey of inner growth and self-discovery. It's a course of uncovering the inborn insight and goodness inside ourselves and figuring out how to explore the high points and low points of existence with more noteworthy strength and poise. We can cultivate a profound sense of inner peace and fulfillment that transcends the fleeting nature of negative thinking by embracing the journey with an open heart and mind. In Buddhism, this excursion is a way of enlivening to our real essence, an excursion of freedom from misery, and the acknowledgement of our natural potential for bliss and prosperity. Bridling the force of Medi is a strong device for defeating negative contemplations. Through standard practice, we can prepare our psyches to develop more prominent lucidity, concentration, and mindfulness, empowering us to notice our considerations without becoming entrapped in them. In Buddhism, contemplation is fundamental to the way of enlivening, giving a way to forming understanding into the idea of our brains and the reasons for misery, creating care in day-to-day existence. Care isn't restricted to formal contemplation practice. It can likewise be incorporated into our regular routines. By carrying careful attention to our ordinary exercises, like eating, strolling, and associating with others, we can develop more prominent presence and strength despite pessimistic contemplations and feelings. Right mindfulness is the Buddhist term for this daily mindfulness practice, the clarity and calmness of awareness of the present moment, developing a fledgling's brain. In the Buddhist custom, there is an idea known as novice's psyche, the disposition of moving toward existence with transparency, interest, and modesty, as though encountering everything interestingly. By developing a fledgling psyche, we can liberate ourselves from the constraints of past molding and routine reasoning examples, permitting us to see the world with a new perspective and answer difficulties with more noteworthy inventiveness and adaptability. Achieving self-care equilibrium. Taking care of oneself is fundamental for beating negative considerations and keeping up with in general prosperity. Getting some margin to support ourselves, whether through rest, unwinding, workout, or inventive articulation, renews our energy saves and develop a more noteworthy feeling of inward equilibrium and strength. In Buddhism, taking care of oneself is viewed as a vital part of the way to arousing, as it permits us to develop the physical, profound, and otherworldly assets expected to explore life's difficulties with elegance and serenity, developing inward strength and versatility. Beating negative contemplations requires creating internal strength and flexibility. This includes developing characteristics like persistence, boldness, and diligence, which empower us to confront troubles no sweat and certainty. In Buddhism, the act of paramitas, or idealizations, includes developing these characteristics of rising above affliction and understanding our fullest potential. Looking for shelter in the three gems. In Buddhism, experts take asylum in the three gems: the Buddha, the Dharma, lessons, and the Sangha, otherworldly local area, as a wellspring of motivation, direction, and backing on the way to arousing. We can gain strength and inspiration from the Buddha's wisdom and compassion, the Dharma's timeless teachings, and the Sangha's supportive presence by turning to these refuges. Regarding our inward insight, every one of us has natural insight and knowledge that can direct us in defeating negative considerations and discovering an authentic sense of reconciliation and joy in our lives. By regarding our inward insight and instinct, we can take advantage of a wellspring of direction and clearness that rises above the constraints of the judicious brain. In Buddhism, this internal insight is developed through practices like contemplation, reflection, and careful request. Practicing gratitude and contentment. Satisfaction and appreciation are strong remedies to negative reasoning. By developing a mentality of satisfaction, appreciating what we have instead of harping on what we need, we can develop a more noteworthy feeling of internal harmony and satisfaction. Likewise, by developing appreciation, recognizing the numerous endowments in our lives, we can move our concentrate away from cynicism and develop a more noteworthy feeling of delight and overflow. Embracing flaw and development. In Buddhism, there is an acknowledgement of the intrinsic blemish of life and the certainty of progress. We can cultivate a greater sense of acceptance and calmness in the face of challenges in life by accepting imperfection and change. This mentality of transparency and adaptability empowers us to move toward negative contemplations and realizing that they are an unavoidable piece of the human condition. Interfacing with nature has a significant recuperating power that can assist us with conquering negative considerations and reconnect with our actual substance. We can find peace and harmony that transcends the noise and distractions of modern life by spending time in nature, whether hiking in the mountains, walking along the beach, or simply sitting under a tree. In Buddhism, the regular world is respected as a sign of the heavenly, offering vast open doors for understanding and reflection. Rehearsing sympathy towards ourselves as well as other people. Empathy is a foundation of Buddhist lessons, offering a strong counteractant to pessimistic considerations and feelings. By developing sympathy towards ourselves as well as other people, we can break liberated from the pattern of self-analysis and judgment and develop a more noteworthy feeling of association and compassion. Because it entails sending wishes of happiness and well-being to all beings, including ourselves, loving kindness. Meditation is a powerful method in Buddhism for cultivating compassion. Finding significance in support of others. Administration to others is a focal principle of Buddhism, offering a way to defeating negative considerations and tracking down more prominent importance and satisfaction throughout everyday life. By serving others with benevolence and empathy, We can rise above the tight bounds of self-image and interface with an option that could be more significant than ourselves. In Buddhism, the act of dana, or liberality, is viewed as a strong method for developing otherworldly development and realizing that all things are connected to one another. Supporting profound practices. Otherworldly practices like supplication, reciting, and custom can offer important help in beating negative considerations and developing more prominent internal harmony and strength. We can create a sacred space for connecting with the divine and accessing a source of guidance and inspiration that transcends the ego's limitations by engaging in these practices with sincerity and devotion. In Buddhism, profound practices are viewed of extending our association with the heavenly and understanding our fullest potential as people. Developing consciousness of relationship. In Buddhism, there is a comprehension of the interconnectedness of all creatures and peculiarities, the acknowledgement that we are all important for a tremendous snare of life, interconnected and reliant. We can overcome negative thoughts and increase our compassion and empathy for both ourselves and others by increasing awareness of this interdependence. This mindfulness advises us that we are not isolated from our general surroundings, but rather personally associated with it, and that our considerations and activities have extensive outcomes. Living with expectation and reason. For overcoming negative thoughts and finding greater meaning and fulfillment in life, it is essential to live with intention and purpose. By adjusting our activities to our qualities and objectives, we can develop a feeling of direction that rises above the transient idea of pessimistic reasoning. In Buddhism, the act of right business includes taking part in work that is lined up with our qualities and adds to the government assistance of others, permitting us to live with more noteworthy honesty and credibility. Embracing the excursion of self-revelation. Defeating negative contemplations is definitely not a one-time occasion, however a long-lasting excursion of self-disclosure and internal development. It requires mental fortitude, persistence, and constancy as we explore the promising and less promising times of existence with effortlessness and poise. In Buddhism, this excursion is viewed as a way of enlivening to our real essence, an excursion of freedom from misery and the acknowledgement of our natural potential for bliss and prosperity. We can cultivate a profound sense of inner peace and fulfillment that transcends the fleeting nature of negative thinking by embracing the journey with an open heart and mind. As we finish up this excursion of conquering negative contemplations and embracing internal harmony, I welcome you to proceed with your way of self-revelation with us. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to our channel for more insightful meditation, mindfulness, and meditation content, and personal development. Together, we should make a world loaded up with inspiration and empathy. Much thanks to you for going along with us.